Hey gang, Coach Casey back with you. So, was speaking with a client this morning about how to get her puppy to enjoy the food that she's providing, and it kind of gave me an idea to do this video. And it's basically, if you have a picky eater, or if you have a dog that's finicky, I mean, do you have where, you put the food down, you feel like it's good food, they turn their nose up, you're like, man, what do I do? You mix some wet food into it, maybe they still turn their nose up. Maybe you change protein sources, they still turn their nose up. Then you go buy an expensive brand of dog food, maybe even a more expensive brand, trying a different type of quality, that kind of thing. Still turn their nose up. Gourmet treats. You get the idea. They just don't want any of it. And here's the problem. It's not the food that you're offering. It's the way you're offering it. All right? And that's going to show you how to feed a picky eater. We need to change the way you're offering your food. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is turn this back down. How to build food drive. If your dog doesn't have any food drive, and it's very normal, it could come from they can come from the breeder that way. It all depends on how they were introduced to it, how it's been maintained, that kind of thing. But it basically goes back to strategic feeding versus free feeding, right? And if you're free feeding, you probably have a dog that's finicky. Free feeding means you put the food down and you kind of wait for them to eat, right? They get to choose when to eat, choose if they like it or not, and that's what's creating this finicky dogs, picky dogs. They know it's not going anywhere. They can eat whenever they want, right? So, how to build food drive. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to write this down so you can kind of, it's not hard, and it'll take about over a period of 48 hours, and you should be good to go. All right, so if you have a picky eater, it's because most likely you are free feeding. Free feeding means you are putting the food down and saying, here, have it whenever you feel like it, that kind of thing. Strategic feeding, not only does it put you in charge as controlling the resources as a leader should do for your dog, it's a good thing for them to see you that way. You control resources. You can eat, now you can't. You can go outside, now you can't. You control all that. You tell them when to do this, you tell them when to do that. That's what a good leader does in a home. It creates that structure. So that's what this type of food feeding does. If you do strategic, my spelling's not very good here, I don't think. Strategic versus free feeding. Make sense? Free feeding is when you basically just fill up the bowl with kibble or whatever it is you're feeding, and you say, here, eat when you want to. And again, that's what I'm saying. That's probably what's creating the pickiness, the finicky. They just like, you know what? It's because they can eat whenever they want. So we can reverse that real quick, and this is the part that takes about 48 hours, but I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. This is where you want to be. Strategic feeding. You want to be in charge. You control your dog's resources, always. And it'll create that food drive you need, that you can build confidence. You can do all kind of things with it. So here we go. Here's how we're going to do strategic feeding. Let's take for an example, you've been free feeding. What I would have you do is pick up that food, whatever time of day it is, and don't put anything down the rest of the day. Tomorrow morning, here's what you do. And I'm going to use 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. as my 2 feeding times. A younger puppy might still be getting 3 times a day, but a lot of dogs are eating twice a day. This is a good time. You can obviously change this, but I'm going to use this for the example. Here's how we go from free feeding to strategic feeding. Like I said, so you picked up the free feeding last night. Now we're into this morning. It's 7 a.m. Feed, let's say your puppy or your dog is supposed to get 4 cups of food a day, right? Cut that in half. Cut it into 2, just like you would normally, right? If they're supposed to get 4 cups, you're supposed to get 2 a.m., 2 p.m. Makes sense, right? So 2 cups in the a.m. Here's the kicker, though. So put it down at 7 a.m., but instead of just putting it down at 7 a.m. and free feeding and letting it just sit there, whatever, you get 10 minutes. All right? This is going to create food drive. It's going to build the food drive. So 7:10 a.m. That's what you got to do. And I'm going to write it on here so you can see. Pick up the food. You are controlling resources. And I promise you, if your dog's healthy, and I'm going to say healthy, they're not going to starve themselves. Okay? If you have a healthy dog, you can do this for 48 hours and your dog will not starve themselves. You're just going to create a system. You're going to get into strategy where now you're controlling your dog's intake. Which, if you're having housebreaking issues, this is what you need to do from the get-go anyway. All right? So, here's what we do. 7 a.m., you feed 2 cups of food. Maybe they picked up a little bit of it. Maybe they didn't touch it at all. Pick it up at 7:10. Most people will be like, oh my gosh, what is he going to do when he gets hungry? Don't worry about it. Like I said, a healthy dog will not starve themselves. Keep the food up. 4 p.m., put the food back down. And if you want to try to give all 4 cups at that time, you can. You can just do 2 cups again to see what happens. You know, again, I can't stress this enough. Your dog will not starve themselves, so trust the process. Here's what you're going to do. At 4 p.m., you're going to feed. But with our golden rule, 4:10 p.m., guess what we got to do again? Pick up the food. All right? And there's a very good chance, if you have a finicky dog, or if you've had a dog that you've done with for quite some time, they're used to free feeding, it's going to be a little bit of a shock to the system. There's a good chance that whole next 24 hours, they don't touch anything. Okay? But here's what I want you to do. Stick to the program. The following morning, 7 a.m., put their food down. There's a good chance here you're going to see some action. But at 7:10, trust the process, pick it up. 10-minute rule. Okay? Pick up the food at 7:10. And right here, on that second day, when you go to feed at 4 p.m., you're going to put the food down and guess what? Bam! They're going to eat. And you're going to go, holy crap, and they're probably going to clean their bowl. And now we're on to something. So then you do what you do the next morning, 7 a.m., 2 cups of food, put it down, 7:10, pick it up. They're probably going to eat it all. You're going to start seeing them get used to this structure. 4 p.m. that same day, the other 2 cups of food. If they don't eat it, pick it up. They'll eat it the next morning. You're going to get them in a routine. Before you know it, you're going to put it down at 7 a.m., they're going to eat it. You're going to put it down at 4 p.m., they're going to eat it. 7 a.m., they're going to eat it. 4 p.m., they're going to eat it. That's how you build food drive. Now you can take that food drive. Now you can get those treats, those gourmet treats you've been spending all that money on. Now you can use it in training. Right? Now you can properly housebreak your dog because you know when they eat exactly. If you can control the intake, you can control the outtake. Most people are free feeding their puppies and they have access to water all day long and they can't figure out why they're having troubles with housebreaking. If it's going in all day long, it's coming out all day long. You're never going to control it. All right, guys, what do you think? I'd love to see some action in them comments. This is huge for if you're having any kind of problems with a finicky eater. Hope you liked it. All right, gang, that's it. You just learned how to take a dog who is a finicky eater and build some food drive. And you also just learned how to take a dog that's been used to free feeding and turn it into strategic feeding. It's going to put you in charge. It's going to help with any housebreaking issues. It's going to help. That food drive is going to go a long way in any kind of training efforts. All right, so I hope you like that. As always, guys, below there's a pinned comment. There's a link in there. Click that link. It's going to take you to a short video of me explaining my 6-phase dream dog formula. I think you're really going to like it. I'll catch you next time.